the skunk essence is about that high, and cats love that skunk essence. I don't care what anything says, they like it a lot. And, I don't like to put it in my baits too much, but I do put it up behind the set. And that, along with the tractor of some kind. We got a bunch of these things get water damage, so my wife said, here, you can take this box up, and I said, okay, I can find a use for them. So all we'll do is we'll just take off a bunch of this, and then like that. Now, you can do one of two ways with these things. Put them up like that, tie a piece of this string on them, and then you can tie it to the height you want it. Or you can take, there should be an overhand knot in it, like that, stick it over a branch. That's all I know to do. I make it simple, simple that easy.
What colors do you like?
I'll use Christmas pencil, I'll use white, black, probably okay. Cool stuff like this. Now, if you leave these loops in it, it's going to get tangled on something pretty quick. So, break these things back off like that. Try to sharpen up the cut this on the face. Now you see all the additional pins that you got flapping out there. If you come up on a set, and you look across the area that you're in, you see that flying out there like that. Not like that. Just throw a simple half inch in it. When you come into your sets, you'll see that flopping around like that. And if you see it flopping close to your set, you probably don't have a cat in it. It might have something in it, but that don't mean anything. I like them about this high. Now the boys down in the southeast, they like them up a little higher because they got those long trails going through the tree lines and stuff. You want the cat to sit from a long ways away and then come into it. Well, the cat stands about that tall. I want to look right there. And then we got a wind coming out of the northwest today. So what we want to do is have our lures and baits going across the trail. If there's a deer trail back there and I lay a couple of sticks down, this is just a little number 11 trap. I've caught a number of cats in these things. I'd set them for coons normally, but I have caught a number of bobcats in them and they hold them good. What I do is I'll put them on a cable like this. I just tie some wire around it to stop it. I can just put this in here. Close it down my nippers, you know, and then I got that stop about 2 feet from the end of it. So if I'm thinking the cat is going to be coming along there because of the wind in this direction, I'm going to have my downside is going to be up here, and my upside is going to be over this way. And what that'll do is that'll let that cat get caught. He'll come up here, he'll come up to that wire that's on there, he'll be waiting for you. He just goes to sleep after he holds it about twice, like a banjo string. And he'll fight it a little bit, and then he'll lay down and go to sleep. That's the way I've been seeing most of them come in.
You're talking about a slide.
Yeah, just a slide. Just like a beaver slide or anything, but I use it on the lane.
It's a one-way slide.
One-way slide, yep. And
So why do you do that rather than just stake it down?
that's all I do is I just stake it down.
So that he doesn't tear your setup real bad.
Right. You come up and you find your trap pan laying up against a weed somewhere. We got a wind going this way, so I'd have my trap up here. And I'd look over there and I'd see that piece of black paper over against the weed. I know there's something down in there. The best place that I had to set these things is when you'd have a slight decline in the road or something, like a ditch, and just set it going down the ditch. You got to the flat, set your trap down there. And then when he pulls it, he comes up over the ditch. You're set, everything's good. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. Everybody says them little number 11s won't hold nothing. Stick your finger in one and try pulling it out. Yeah. Now I pick wire up at the farm auctions and stuff, so it don't cost much. I'm into not putting a whole lot of money into it. I save my bobcat urine that I take out of my cats and I use it until it's gone. I go to another bottle that I got saved up and start filling this one again. Good sifter is always nice to have. You don't need it. The cat don't care. I don't care what anybody says. They're not as smart as any other animal. Everybody says, well, coyotes are darn smart though. They'll move away from your set. And I said, well, I guess all them coyotes I thought were just numbering the rock there. This is my go-to trap here. It's a Bridger. This is the number 2. I like the number 3 a little better because it's a little wider jaw spread, and then cats, when they put their paw down on that soft dirt, they spread them out a little bit. Normally, and not all the time. But I keep getting my fingers caught in here. Okay. I just pull it down where it's pretty level. That's it, right there. I don't use a night latch most of the time, but when I do use a night latch, I just night latch the dog, because that's the cheapest part to replace on your trap instead of the pan. Everybody says, well, that's rusty and won't work. I said, yeah, you're probably right. But my first shed's full every year. So anyhow, I try not to put a whole lot of emphasis on any one point of this cat trapping, because the cats are just not that smart. They really aren't. They'll walk into an open set. I have a friend of mine, he's a police officer down there by me, and I said, well, he said, I can't find any sign. We walked across the property up there. I said, well, there's cat poop right there, bud. I said, put a trap right there. So he set his trap down. I said, okay, now dig the bed out and leave the pan exposed. What do you mean leave the pan exposed? Leave the pan exposed. We done that and bedded the springs in good and got the pan exposed, and I took my scissors out of my bag and I chopped the little fine stuff all over the pan and stuff. My hood blew off in 5 minutes, and I was just calmed him down a little bit. But anyhow, I keep these number 2s for tight spots. In between roots on trees and stuff like that. That's what I have the best luck with the smaller traps on. I just don't get real excited about how fancy they look or any of that stuff. If I can get in 20 sets a day, I'm getting old now, so if I can put in 20 sets a day, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And I will come back the next day, check them 20 sets, and then I'll leapfrog ahead and put some more in. As the first traps I put in quit producing, I pull them, put them ahead, and leapfrog them ahead. I've got a lot of ground that I trap that's along river bottoms and cornfields and stuff like that. So that's why I've got that out there.
Where are you from?
I'm down by Riverton and Innervale, Nebraska. Red Cloud, Innervale, Riverton, and then Franklin. I trapped for a couple of farmers down there. I trapped the calving grounds for them. Mostly coyotes there, but my sets, like I said, they're not fancy, but they take both. They'll take a coyote, they'll take a cat, and that's all that you can ask for, I guess. And if a coon comes along, it'll take him. Now, as long as we're on coons just temporarily here, if a coon's only going to bring you $2 this year, how many coons you got to take to make a little bit of money? 100 of them? That's $200, right? Okay. Don't give up on the coons, boys. Give up on the coons. Anyhow, I'm going to just put that little number 11 in here and show you kind of what I do. I got a lot of these number 11s. I've got all the different styles except Duke. I don't like them. And that was just because when I went to the Nationals one year, a guy was telling me a case of the Duke number 11. I said, well, that's a pretty cheap price. He said, yeah. So I said, can I set one? He said, sure. So I set it. Can I dry fire it? Sure. So I dry fired it, and the springs come apart, and there I was with nothing in my hand, you know. And I said, well, that didn't work. He said, well, maybe that was just a bad one. Let's try another one. And he knew me, so I set it. I got it up there. I dry fired it with the springs straight out, just like that. Dry fired it, came apart in my hand. I threw it on the counter. I said, thank you. I'll go find some Sleepy Creek somewhere.
Yeah.
I like guys that say these traps won't hold nothing, but I've caught badger, I've caught coyotes, and I've caught bobcats in them. If I can get my springs down there a little bit. Alright, about all there is to it. Got down in there. I think this wax paper's all cut to number 3, so we'll make it work. Okay, and that's about all there is to it, guys. Put a little dirt up around your springs. Thank you, Ed, for digging that out for me. Okay, and then we'll just put a little bit of this fine stuff on top. Push off over here. And I'm pushing towards the dog so that it don't snap and clear the dirt in my eyes. You only got to have that happen so many times, you know, a couple hundred, and then you finally figure it out. Okay, and that's all I do right there. I normally don't even put these underneath the tree anymore. I used to put them underneath and bury them with leaves and stuff, just kind of cover it up a little bit. I put the nice thing about these cables, I got these for nothing too at a hog farm I was working at. They come in and replaced all the cables that were on the feed lines. And took them home. I cut them anywhere from 6 feet to 50 feet. Because sometimes you got to get them away from the fence line so somebody don't put a bullet hole in them for you. Especially on coyotes. Okay, so that's all there is to that. Now normally when I'm trapping, if I'm in coyote country, I double stake with 30-inch stakes. Everybody says that's overkill. But if I see you looking around with a bad back, I know you tried to pull my trap out. You laugh about that, but I had a kid right below my place. I lived in the country, and I seen him and his dad down there. They were doing something around one of my campsites. So I walked out to see what they were doing. They let the house cat out. I said, why did you let that house cat out? Well, it probably belongs to somebody. I said, I'm the only one that lives here now. I don't have no leaves. That's all we used to do. I grabbed him up and make bait at him. I thought he was going to cry when they said that. So anyhow, I figured I probably better leave well enough alone. And, I'm not going to drive these in all the way, but that's all I do right there. It's got a slide on it so you can pull it up tight. Run this out wherever you want to run it to. Got a slide on this end, put it on. These were the rods to keep the gates closed at that hog farm. I I've welded on them already. They were that length. I said, well, that's a good length to keep a tie in too. And then you just stretch this thing out as far as you want to stretch it. Pull it snug, not real tight, not real loose, but just snug. Tap it in, get it all the way down in the ground. You won't have to worry about anything pulling that out. Now, when you're using your number 3s and number 2s, I like the offset brand a little bit better because it does allow a little bit of blood flow to come down into the paw and just quit fighting the trap as much when you're doing that. So that's why I like the offset traps best myself. I know a lot of guys that like the smooth jaw, they say it holds better. I said, that's fine. You work with what works for you, and I'll work what works for me. Don't lose too many critters out there, so that's the main thing. The thing is to put the fur up in the fur shed. So. But anyhow, that's all there is to that.
So your walk through Bobcat, you started to say this only, are you talking about making a dirt hole like that first? And
No, what I would be doing would be to say that this is all flat ground going back out into here. Okay?
Like a trail going
just
through
like a trail coming along here, maybe a trail coming up here. So if the wind changes on you, all you got to do is change the position of your sticks a little bit. And they'll come in here. If it's open a little bit, he'll step right in here. Wherever it narrows up, that's where I want my trap. And I put my lure on the side where the dog is, and I'll put a dead mouse on the other side down another hole. And that seems to work pretty good for just about everything. Coons, coyotes, skunks, possums, they don't matter. And bobcats. So, and again, it doesn't matter if it's a little stick like this, as long as the cat don't have to step on it. You know? Because he'll step on a round stick and go wherever he wants to go. But if it's open all the way through to where he's going, and you got a little skunk essence up here maybe, and you got your baits in here, you'll have him. He'll be waiting for you in the morning. And if you see a Ace of Lennon, I don't know how many of you guys have ever run into him, but he was a pretty good bobcat trapper. He's all right up in Michigan. And he told me, he said, Tom, if you ever find a bobcat track, put the pan of your trap right where that track is. Not 6 inches off, not 2 feet to the side, right where that track is. And I've been doing that for several years now, and every time I've done that, I've had a cat in that trap within 3 or 4 days. So, sometimes the old trappers know what they're talking about. And Ace of Lennon was just one of the better ones that I ever run into. He's the guy that taught me how to take the essence out of a skunk without getting sprayed too. That was before the videos all came out on it and everything. But I was just talking with the gentleman inside about that, and he said, yeah, my son does it. He takes a syringe and brings it out. And I said, well, when he pulls the syringe out, all that other essence that's still left in there is still going to be under the skin there, right? It's going to stink. I don't care who you are. And if you're going to wash it out, you use that hydrogen peroxide and dish soap combination thing and baking soda. That will clean your hides out really good for you. You put them in there, soak them in that for just a little bit, wash them around, and put them in a clean water solution. And take those 2 buckets way away from your home. Because if you don't, you dump it out the back door, you're going to have skunk odor right there for a long time coming out. Now, some friends of mine down in Kansas brought me this chunk of string. They said, you need string, Tom. And I said, okay, whatever. Used to be, I'd give my demos on a Saturday, so we had a lot of youngsters out. I'd give them the tape and the string and everything, go make you an attractor one. And take this, we'll run it through here, and just tie a couple overhand knots in it. And we'll do the same up here, or you can use it like this and just tie it over something a couple, 3 times. Get it whatever height you need it so that it blows. Pull that good and tight. And then north winds start blowing, and we'll fly. And you cut all this stuff out and let that just blow in there. When the I ain't kidding you, when you see a full moon hits that stuff in the mornings when you first go out and the sun's just coming up, you can see that for a half mile across your field. I know a cat walking along that deer trail over there sees it a lot closer too, because he's always waiting for me. Now, the type of lures and baits that you use, I keep all the old jars that I get there. This says skunk on it because I had skunk in it. And I use this when the weather gets really cold. I like the skunk essence then. I don't want it right next to the trap because I don't want it on his fur. But I'll set it like up in here someplace. If there's a weed, I'll just put a little bit up on that weed, and that's all I do. This is a Bobcat gland lure. You just can't beat a gland lure when they start chasing the ladies. Just if you have them big toms. Here's the number 3 as opposed to the number 2. If you're trying to see what the differences may be. I do like the laminations on them a lot. And I will be cleaning and dyeing and waxing these traps before I use them. But most of you guys know that when you get out there, get your first coyote or badger, that's what that trap looks like now. Now you got the choice of taking it home, cleaning it up, or reusing it. I just reuse them. Yep, I don't. It looks like that's got a night latch on the dogs. This must be one that I bought from that guy out west. Yep.
Click.
I heard it click. What?
What is that, Northwoods? Or?
No, this is a bridger.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a 2-coil bridger. I use these early in the year. They've worked for a lot of years for me. I traded Petska fur buyer. He came to my house one time, wanted to leave a load of fur there because he had to go down in Kansas to pick up a bunch of fur. And I said, well, that's fine, go ahead. He said, I heard you had a bunch of number 2s, Tom. I said, yeah. Long spring, double longs? I said, yeah. He said, could you trade some of them for some of them newfangled bridger traps? Yeah, probably. So he came back through and he said, I got a case of them out here. I said, okay, I'll trade you 2.5 number 2s for every one of the number 3s. He said, you got a deal. So we went down there and we just started pulling out piles of number 2s and the long springs. And he appreciated it. And I appreciated it more because that trap just set me on the way that I was going for catching coyotes and bobcats in a big way. And then when I started doing these number 11s, I was trapping coons. And I was setting one cable going this way. I'd have another one set down there and the other cable going that way. And I'd have coons sitting on both ends of the thing that way, then number 11. The first time I came down there and had a big old Tom Bobcat sitting there waiting on me, I said, I like that. And then after that, I caught several of them when I had these set for coons. Cut them the Bobcats, from what I understand, are not going to be bringing the money that they were bringing. But they're still bringing pretty good money if you know how to put them up right. And if you take your time with them and maybe use a little bit of borax to clean off any blood or anything you got so that they look good, your furs will bring a little bit more money. At least that's been my experience with it. Now that boy in Kansas said he was going to bury me in coons. I had 2 pallets wide in my garage going the whole length up to my skinning machine. On the other side I had 1 row of pallets going up. He had coons that high on all of those pallets the first load he dropped off.
From Kansas?
Yeah. He was calling them, daytime calling.
Oh, really?
But the reason I'm bringing him up in this right now is because I kept those coons skinned and the carcasses hauled off. And when he come in there, I said, I thought you were going to bury me, boy. And he'd say, well, I got another load out there. Bring out the cash, too. So he'd always bring the cash. But anyhow, if you...
were you a fur buyer then, or
no.
you were buying them from him?
No. I was putting his fur up for a fee.
Okay.
And I had the time to do it because I'm retired now, and I That's what I enjoy doing. Now the number 11s are just so versatile. I ain't gonna say that's a bobcat trap by any means, but I'm saying they will hold a bobcat if you catch one in it. Okay? They're a pretty good trap. If you got a good one. If you have a bad one, it may not work quite as good then. Don't sound like nothing, does it? But you sit there and try and pull them apart, and they don't come. Now the gentleman I was talking to inside was saying that he lets his son do his skunks for him because he don't like doing skunks. He's afraid he's going to get sprayed by them. And I told him, I said, well, you start at the heel, you come right down around just below the butt, come up to the other heel, and then lay him on his back, open his belly up with a real sharp scalpel or something, and you'll see them sink glands. If the sink glands up, you cut them and direct them off because it goes right between them. I just cut it right off. I take them aside, I set them there, and oh, there it is. My wife likes pickles. I keep the jars to hold the skunk essence. Then when I'm done with the skunk essence, I'll rinse the jars out with gasoline, set them outside, and I'll use them again later. Do the same thing.
Put pickles back in.
Huh? What's that?
You put pickles back in.
Yeah, she don't care. No, if I done that, she'd divorce me. There ain't no doubt. She'd take every trap I own. Okay, so you come up, you got your cat up here, you're gonna put him down. A lot of guys shoot him in the head. Well, there's $5 in the skull that you just gave up. Shoot him behind the leg, into the lungs with a lead bullet, and it'll just knock him right down.
Too much blood.
That's okay. I don't mind washing a little blood out with some cold well water. But the other thing is, you take and you get a hog snare at the local farm store, you go up, you put it around him, get it right up under his jaws, good and tight, and get ready for a rodeo. He's either going to go straight down, or you're going to have a little bit of a rodeo there, and then he'll stop and then he'll just go down. When his eyes glaze over and he quits messing around with you, you got him. No holes, no blood, no nothing. I've got a bigger one, a long one, because I had a cat crawl under a dead tree one time, and I just said, well, I need a longer one to get under the tree to get him. And I got it. I would just say that these hog snares are cheap enough. They're heavy duty, and I haven't had to replace this cable on this one in 5 years that I've had it. And this fits behind the seat of my truck real nice, so I don't forget it like I did my long one. Okay. Let's see what else we got in here. Bunch of goodies here. There's some wider stuff. It's got a, it's kind of a greased fishing line that they sell at Walmart and some of these other stores. About 40 or 50 pound casts. They use it for catfishing, I think. And now you can just take that, make a half hitch, put it over whatever you want to put it on. Just keep the trap close to it. Okay, are there any questions on bobcat trapping that I haven't covered? I forgot about. I'm old. I forget everything nowadays.
Shiny tin can lids or computer disc.
Computer disc, anything like that works really good. If you're going to use a computer disc or a tin can lid, I'd recommend you put it on a fishing swivel and put a weight above that swivel because it'll hold it down and it'll just sit there and just spin like crazy. Egg sinkers work real good for that too. Get you a set of these things here to open and close your J hooks with. The little ones will work, the big ones work easier. And I'm all for easier work. You may want to get an old set of can openers. A little bit of mackerel works really good for a cat, just like it does for a coon.
Jack mackerel.
The cheapest one, and it works the best. Oh, there you go.
I used to use a lot of jack mackerel. Oh, good.
Yep, I did too. And then when I was using it, see what I done with them little boogers. Oh, there they are. This is the thing I learned off of Tom Miranda many years ago, but he was just using these little film canisters and putting a cotton ball in it, and then he'd dump shell oil or fish oil or something like that in it, knock a hole in the ground with his trap stake, stick that in, and put the trap in front of it, and he'd have coon the next day. Well, I said, if it works for coons, it'll work for a bobcat. So I put a little bobcat lure in there, stick it in the weeds, cover the weeds over it so they can't see it, but they can smell it. They'll come up and get it. When you're putting your cats up, pull all the fur that you can pull instead of trimming it and cutting it. That way you don't put holes in it. And like always, the Lyndon told me, if you see a bobcat track, put your pan right where that track was. Make your bed right around it and then set your trap in there. You'll be glad you did. And it don't matter whether you got sticks, you got rocks. Now a cat will step on these flat spots here. So basically what you want to do is you want to dig a little trench and set them in like that. And then just set your trap in between it. And then if you don't want to cover your pan, don't cover it. That cat will step right on it. You don't care. A little dust on it or something. Fencing pliers are nice to have. You keep them working. I had a pack rat get in and chew a hole in my bar oil bottle the other day, so I got bar oil all over my garage floor to clean up when I get home. But I'm going to put a bunch of that up together, and then I'll just put it on these things, and it'll loosen them up a little bit. So when the guy goes out and buys his cheap wire at the farm store, at the farm auction, well, if I can get them to work, they will. Then you can take them, go like that. Hang up with this. You want to make it a little more permanent. Okay. Well, the main thing about catching cats is you got to have cats to catch, guys. And everybody says, well, there ain't no cats all over the state. And I said, I don't know what part of the state you're from, but I said, I have found cats in every part of the state that I've gone to help a guy. What kind of thing? They're there if you know what to look for. Any other questions that I can help you with?
Well, you ever do anything on getting them the rub on stuff?
I've used some of the rub lures and stuff. They used to send me a bottle of stuff that it works. I like to keep it down low because when they come through, that wind should be blowing in their face. And as it comes out, it's going to start coming up a little bit. So back here, he's going to pick up on it. He's going to hone in on it, But that rub lure, if you got a big tree right along a river bend or something, you can see where the cat's been rubbing. Put a little rub lure on it. Put your set right there. Again, you don't have to bury it. Just set there. Cat will step in.
Tom, you weren't on the schedule, but your first name's Tom?
Tom Riblet.
Rib what?
Riblet, R-I-B-L-E-T-T.
L-E-T-T.
Correct.
Riblet.
His name is Tom.
Thank you.
You bet. And yeah, I told them that if they had somebody that they needed to replace or whatever, just give me a call and I'll come in and do what I can do. Again, I'm not going to give you a long-winded speech here or none of that. That's all you got to do to catch a cat. Just that simple. All right, well, now you got time to go have a hot dog or something.